I think that, being an East London boy, growing up in Leytonstone, moving to Manchester and now stood here at Windsor Castle with His Majesty the King giving me a knighthood is something that I could never have imagined happening to me. My dream as a young boy was always to become a professional footballer, play for Manchester United and represent my country, and luckily enough I got to do that. But everything else that has come with my career and what I've done, and obviously the philanthropic work that I do, I think that's what's special about today. It's not just because of my sport, it's because of the philanthropic work that I've done from a very early age. I think I was talking about it last night with my parents, that I think I started charity work when I was 15, 16 at Manchester United, and then obviously went on to become UNICEF ambassador and working for the Royal Foundation and the King's Foundation and Malaria No More and the Armed Forces. So I've been very lucky to work for very important charities around the world. And I think one of the things that I recognised when I was very young is because I had a successful career, I was able to implement change with the things that I said and the things that I got involved in. And I think that's why the charity work that I do is so important to me. But the 14-year-old boy from East London standing here in the castle with His Majesty the King, it's a very proud moment for me and my family. The royal family have played a huge role in our family over the years, and we know how important our royal family is. And it's the most important institution in the world and the most respected institution in the world. So to be stood here today, being honoured as an East End boy, and to have done what I've done and be able to work, with the charities that I've worked with and played with the teams that I've played with and the players that I've played with and the managers that I've played under. And I also want to thank the British people as well, because with their support over the years, it's been it's one of the reasons why I'm here today. So it's a big moment. Well, actually, he was admiring my suit, and I actually said he was the inspiration. Funnily enough, I looked at old pictures of him in his younger years, and because I know how elegant he dresses, and I just thought it was quite important for me to get it right. And my wife made the suit, so I was very lucky. One of the King's comments were, wow, that's a beautiful suit. So I didn't get the opportunity to say my wife made it, and I'm sure she'll make you one. But I will at some point. I will make that point. But it's a very special moment, and obviously to have Victoria here and my mum and dad, and it's a very proud day for them. I wouldn't say it's relief. I would just say it's pride. I think people have talked about it for a number of years, and I always felt so lucky to have the honour that I already had with the OBE, and I do feel very lucky to have that. But obviously to be recognised now as a Sir, it's very special. But there's not really relief. It's just I couldn't be prouder, because I think people know how patriotic I am. I think people know how much I love my country. I've always made that point. I've always said how important the monarchy has been, to our family over the years. And like I said, I'm lucky enough to travel around the world and go to different places around the world. And everywhere I go, all people want to talk about is our monarchy and how great they are and how respected they are. So, it makes me very proud. And I've always flown our flag wherever I've lived, wherever I've gone, and I'll continue to do that. I think someone just asked me a question about is it time to slow down and is there any more to do? And actually, no, it's time to put a bit more in and do a lot more, because my work with the charities that I work with, unfortunately, will never end, because we're trying to secure children's futures and their safety around the world. And unfortunately, there's always a crisis and there's always something that's happening. So my work with charities will never end. And with everything else, I think there's a responsibility that comes with being honoured and becoming a Sir. But I've already known that responsibility for a long time, for a number of years. I think that when I became a professional footballer, when I became England captain, You know, when I became a father, when I became a husband, you know, the responsibilities change and they get bigger, and I understand those responsibilities, but you know, today is a moment to kind of reflect, and I very rarely reflect on my past career and the things that I've done, but I think I will take today and savour this moment because it's a very special moment. Not my good side.
I'm just